Hi everyone, this is Diane. I am still on my vacation, but I wanted to just do a video of this cozy journal so that it's all ready to be in my shop, and I'll put the video up and list the journal as soon as my vacation ends. And last night I've been doing a little organizing in the house, throughout the house, but that includes my craft room, so I just kind of went through all my Christmas supplies and kind of organized them better, and I found a few things that really belong in here. So I added to it just this morning. I'm not supposed to be working, but you know how it is. At least I think you know how it is. So as we go through it, I will point out the things that I added this morning, and you tell me if you think that they were necessary, that I had to put them in here. All right, let's look through the journal. So this journal is made with an Amazon, the craft brown paper mailing envelopes with the little bit of padding inside. It's not really crinkly anymore because I Mod Podged on it, and I don't know why, it doesn't do the crinkle anymore. And it's a napkin. This is a napkin with a Nordic sweater pattern, which was perfect for this cozy journal. And I did make a patchwork tie. I just took a strip of muslin and laid these little square pieces that had already been cut. I received them, or I bought them in a bundle of stuff, or somebody sent them to me, I don't remember, but they were already cut. And it is still fraying. That's why I was trimming some threads off. So I just laid the squares out on it, and I had a couple of strips too to help aid the process, give a couple of bigger pieces. This one is quite long, so I added a couple patches on top of it. And then I just stitched with a zigzag stitch down one side and up the other, and then I just did a straight stitch, zigzag, or yeah, curvy, all down the center to catch all the pieces. So that is a little tie, and you know, patchwork is very cozy. I used a note card, a Christmas note card, and cut a piece off the front of it to make this embellishment on the front, and then I stamped these letters onto the squares are 3/4 inch by 3/4, and I sewed them with red thread onto blue cardstock. And the back, where the napkin overlapped, I didn't like it, it was quite dark, so I just added an ornament fabric. I did sew all the way around the edges, and I added this lovely sweatery looking fringe trim on the front. There's a label sticker here. So what does snow and ice skating have to do with cozy? That's cold. Well, I thought it's very, very cozy to have fun outside in the snow and then to go inside where it's warm. So I started the book out with this wintry scene. It's cold, but it's fun. They're having fun. And you can see smoke coming out of the chimney here. So somebody is warm and cozy in there. And I used to ice skate. We had ponds, my house and my grandfather's house, which was across the road. And his was a nicer pond for skating, so that's where we usually skated. But we could skate on our pond too. My brothers had to, you know, scrape the frost and snow off, and then we could skate. So we got skates for Christmas one year. I used this hand crocheted trim on the edge. I want you to see the edges. There's not a lot, just those two pieces, and then when you get inside you see some other pieces. This is from a greeting card. I just cut her out and glued her to ivory colored cardstock and put in a vintage notebook paper. And this was just a scrap, leftover scrap, and I added a grid paper and you can write on it. This is my background paper. It is vintage wrapping paper, and I really love it. I love the pattern, and this is This and the napkins I got pretty close to the same time last year, and that gave me the idea for doing a cozy themed journal with sweaters and cocoa and cookies. So to make this is old and fragile, so I needed to reinforce it. I added this stationery piece with the quilt border, and then you'll see what I glued on the other side of that paper. There's an ice skate stamp, and it looks very much like, I had white skates and it looked very much like that. And there's one of the nice soft cozy trims, and this trim came from Switzerland, from my friend Eve. I cut these little cookies out of a magazine, and there's a pretty snowflake printed doily. And here is a very cozy cup of cocoa with peppermint sticks and marshmallows. There's a cookie. And I have a stencil that does a sweater pattern. This is just a scrapbook cardstock piece that has a ledger design, so you could really have a nice spot for journaling there. I did include lots of space for journaling. This is an invitation with gingerbread cookie people on it. You can open it up and write on it. But I glued it as a tuck spot, so I tucked in a scrap of this paper and another scrap of another paper, and I glued ledger paper to the back and embossed this strip to decorate it. There's just some graph paper here and a Christmas photo that came out of one of the little booklets that some of the film developing companies would put your photos in. And it's a lovely family photo. They're all kind of clustered behind the tree. Looks like there's a staircase there because I think that is the what is it, baluster of the staircase. It looks like Grandma and Grandpa and the children. And there's another of the embossed strips in red. And there's another wrapping paper piece, and this one has some more cookies cut from a magazine, and a vintage ledger and a newer ledger. This is still vintage, but it's not like that one. There's a lantern, and I think there's a cup of cocoa on the other side of that page. These are digitals that I had left over. More stenciling here. It says Merry Christmas, and this was cut from the wrapping paper that my sister wrapped my gifts in last year. It was adorable wrapping paper with snowmen, all kinds of things you could cut out. So I carefully saved all of the pieces that I could. And there are a few of the pieces in this book. This is from a Christmas craft book, and this is a gingerbread house and the reindeer dorm. Some more patterned cardstock with a very cozy looking trim. There's more of that skating scene. And this is a piece that was also cut from the wrapping paper from my sister. And it looks like it belongs right on this. This is text with holiday phrases on it. And I glued more of this napkin to this tag. Put some red and white baker's twine in it. There's another stamp of a Christmas tree, and it says Merry and Bright. Another piece from my wrapping paper from Annette. It says to and from. This is a cardstock piece that had the Nordic sweater pattern on it in blue. And I cut this out of a digital sheet of Christmas words and phrases. I don't know where it came from. I printed it a couple years ago, I think, and I had never used it. So I used that word and just punched out a couple pieces to embellish it. It says let it snow. Did I tell you that? Let it snow because we're all cozy inside. Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. There's that strip that is embossed in green this time. A vintage Christmas card from the 40s, and there is the delightful fire. Very cozy. And the gifts, the kitten unwrapping the gifts. And I glued the bottom of this card together because it's one of those four-fold ones. And I made this on a video. This is another piece from my sister's wrapping paper, and there's like a corduroy textured ribbon there. And you can journal on the back. Now these are all pieces that I just added this morning. This is from a vintage magazine, and I had to include the cup of cocoa. So I found a page to put it on. I backed it with cardstock and cut it out. And then I had these two digital pieces that are left from this line of paper that I'm using. And there's a cup of cocoa and a candy cane shaped cookie. They had to be in here, right? On this page, I had a piece of vellum that looks like a Nordic sweater pattern. So I glued it to green cardstock, and I have to tell you, you can see the glue through the vellum. And made two pockets, and then I made journaling cards just with some polka dot paper, and I punched the tabs with more polka dot paper. But I had to put them down instead of sticking up off the card. They're just a decorative thing, and it's a reinforcement actually. And they get tucked right in there. And then today I added these two pieces. These are cookies from another vintage magazine, and I loved the red dotted line around them. And I glued them to cardstock, and you can write on them. And here's another one. This is from a newer magazine, but it's a wonderful looking star-shaped cookie. You could write on that, you could embellish it, glue a little picture on there. And then I had to have something to go in there, so I just took one of my tags and glued some wrapping paper to it. Candy canes and cookies. Here's another card made with my sister's wrapping paper. There is a greeting and a signature on the inside of this card, but you could definitely put a photograph there and here. And here's the other digital word that I cut from that digital sheet. Baby, it's cold outside. And it's another song talking about how cold it is outside and it's cozy inside. More cookies from a magazine. I stamped my peppermint candies up there. I have had this stamp for many years and I love it. I use it every year at Christmas time for these journals. And same page that we saw before, but with a different phrase from my sister's wrapping paper. And that one from my sister's wrapping paper. There's the cocoa. And here's one of the wrapping paper pages with more of the ledger paper on it and a little list sheet with a gingerbread house and a gingerbread boy and peppermints. More of the vellum with the reindeer, the Nordic sweater pattern, and this one is a scrap from the other piece of cardstock. And this is from a vintage magazine. You could order this pattern that would help you make this Santa pillow, which is very soft and cozy. I added this today because as I was sorting through my Christmas cards and postcards that I'll put in my shop, I saw this one with the fireplace and the kettle over the fireplace. I don't see a fire burning in there, but there will be. There's a candle there and a wreath, and it just is a very cozy scene. And it's from 1929. So I decided to paperclip it to a page, and I found this that I'd cut from a Sears catalog or a Montgomery Ward catalog. It's a vintage one, and I mean, it's cozy blankets, plaid, and they're Christmas colors. So I made it into a paperclip. I stamped my light bulb stamp up there. I got that stamp at the flea market this year. And there's another cozy trim from Switzerland. There's where the stationery with the patchwork border was on the other side of this wrapping paper. And I added some graph paper and scrapbook paper. Here's another photograph of some children in their pajamas sitting on a sectional sofa, the curved part in the center. And it has their names, Matthew, Andy, and Patrice. They look very cozy in their pajamas. There's another piece of vintage notebook paper, and this came from a paper doll set from the 60s or 50s. And then on the back inside cover is a blue library pocket, some candy striped paper, and this beautiful vintage photo of a mother on the sled and her son standing on the sled behind her. I love that picture. So I added the photo corners and just glued it down. I love it. And then I have this library card, but it's really a paper with my signature on it. So this is a really fun Christmas journal. Let's count the pages. 1, 2, 3. I'm not counting the doily. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'll count this because you can journal on this. 14, 15. So 60 pages front and back. And this is in my shop right now. I'm not scheduling it today. It's just going to be in my shop when you see this video, because I'm not even sure what I'll be doing. I think you'll see this video on Monday. So it'll just be in my shop whenever the video goes up. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be doing some more Christmas journals real soon. See you then. Bye-bye.